The straw man fallacy occurs when someone misrepresents or distorts another person's argument in order to make it easier to attack. Instead of engaging with the actual argument that has been put forward, the opponent creates what is known as a straw man. This is a weaker or more ridiculous version of the argument. The opponent then proceeds to knock down the straw man as if they have successfully refuted the original point. The straw man fallacy dates back to ancient rhetoric. Aristotle described this as a fallacy of ignorance of the argument. Aristotle noted that this slimy misdirection undermines the purpose of reasoned discourse. A fair debate should aim at discovering the truth rather than trying to score rhetorical points using dishonest tactics. Let's consider an example of a straw man. You say, people should eat less processed food to improve their health. The person across from you responds, so you think we should all live like monks eating flavourless food and never enjoy anything. This is a straw man. Your original argument was a moderate suggestion about healthy eating, but it was twisted into an extreme and absurd position that is easier to reject. Your opponent is trying to manipulate you and others listening into thinking your original comment is ludicrous. People will often use an exaggerated or sarcastic tone when paraphrasing a straw man argument, mimicking their opponent in a childish or mocking way. This vocal exaggeration makes the distorted straw man version sound ridiculous, reinforcing their own superiority while avoiding genuine engagement and honest debate. You say, I think screen time for children should be limited to an hour a day, and your opponent responds, so you want to raise this generation of kids like the Amish and isolate them from the world without technology and electricity. Again, the original argument is misrepresented to make the opposing view seem unreasonable or out of touch with reality. The straw man fallacy is often used deliberately on TV shows to provoke a reaction and create drama. This makes the exchange more entertaining for viewers. By misrepresenting someone's argument, the speaker can stir frustration or anger. This adds emotional heat and spectacle, but it sacrifices truth and fairness. The danger of the straw man fallacy lies in its deceptive simplicity. It allows your opponent to appear clever or dominant in the argument without actually engaging with the real issues or the evidence you have provided. It polarizes discussions and makes constructive dialogue impossible. Recognizing and calling out straw man arguments is essential in debates. Aristotle said to argue well, we must argue honestly with our opponent's actual views, not the views we've made up to win the debate. In the climate change debate, the straw man fallacy is regularly used on both sides, often without conscious intent. For example, a person who believes we need to take urgent climate change action might say, we need to reduce our carbon emissions immediately, and someone opposed might respond with, so you think we should just shut down all factories and go back to living in caves? This distorts the original point into an absurd extreme, making it easier to dismiss. On the flip side, someone who is skeptical about human impact on climate change might say, I'm not convinced that carbon emissions are the primary cause of climate change based on the evidence I've seen. The response is, so you think climate change is just a big hoax and the whole scientific community are a bunch of liars. Again, the original nuanced point that there is a lack of evidence is exaggerated into a caricature, as if the skeptic were denying all science entirely rather than questioning just one specific area. These misrepresentations are common because we are all prone to confirmation bias. This is the tendency to favour information that supports our own existing beliefs and ignore or distort information that challenges our beliefs. When we believe our view is not only right, but also morally and intellectually superior, it becomes easy to mock or oversimplify the other argument. We fall into the trap of seeing opponents as uninformed or brainwashed, rather than intellectual equals who have arrived at different conclusions for valid reasons. This confirmation bias tendency leads to toxic rhetoric. Climate change skeptics are dismissed as idiots, deniers, or conspiracy theorists, with no space for questioning, nuance, or disagreement. Likewise, those who support climate change action are labelled sheep, alarmists, or virtue signallers, accused of blindly following media narratives and political agendas. Both reactions shut down meaningful conversation and replace it with insults. Each claims the other is not intelligent enough to debate with. In truth, none of us, not even scientists, knows with 100% certainty the full extent of humankind's role in climate change. Science works with probabilities and the evidence available at the time, not absolutes. Scientific theories are generated based on information currently available at hand. For example, scientists long believed that early humans were apex predators with superior hunting skills that dominated the food chain. However, this belief was later overturned after examining numerous fossils. Many hominin bones and skulls had tooth marks from large carnivores, indicating that early humans were often prey, not apex predators. Our own egos and our need to believe we were top of the food chain led to confirmation bias. The point is, scientists often change their minds when new evidence comes to light. Science is complex and always evolving. As such, it's intellectually honest to remain open and acknowledge what we just don't know, to avoid slipping into arrogance. The statement, "it's hard to find someone intelligent enough to debate with," is not only a superiority play, it's a form of rhetorical laziness that avoids the hard work of actually engaging seriously with opposing views and opening your mind to new ideas. If someone uses the straw man fallacy on you, stay calm and avoid retaliating with sarcasm or personal attacks. Just because they are using an exaggerated or sarcastic voice tone doesn't mean you need to lower yourself to that level and respond this way. Instead, politely clarify your actual argument again by saying something like, "That's not what I said, let me restate my point." Bring the conversation back to the real issue and what you actually said. Encourage them to engage with your actual argument rather than the distorted straw man version. This keeps the debate constructive and shows that you're focused on understanding and examining the truth. Don't lose your patience. A skilled debater stays calm and composed, even when faced with deceptive and manipulative tactics like the straw man fallacy. Patience not only preserves your credibility, but also allows you to refocus the conversation on the real argument without escalating conflict. Stay strong.